Hi everybody, this is Tom from the Corona team, and I'm here to tell you about Corona 12 Update 2. Now, this is a technical release. There are some technical changes on the back end that need to be done, and that's actually the sole reason for this release. However, of course, we've been working on Corona 13, which is due out in June, and it so happens that we have some features that are useful on their own. They are finished, they've been coded, tested, and are working. So we thought, why not just sneak them into this release? So let's take a look at what we've got in Corona 12 Update 2.
Differential Ray Filtering has been added. This makes textures seen through refraction less blurry. The depth of field highlight solver has been improved. In 12 Update 2, it now gives expected results when highlights are reflected or seen through flat glass surfaces. You can see the difference here between 12 Update 1 and 12 Update 2. Corona user Iraban Dutta has very generously allowed us to include a set of 18 new LUTs. Along with Corona, you'll find those installed whenever you run the installer. We've added the ability to override global volume materials on a per camera basis. Here we see a scene I created with a rather dramatic effect. And if I swap to a different camera angle, well, now it looks like nighttime. That's not at all what I want, so let's change the global volume material. Okay, great, this is what I want from this scene, but of course if I go back to my previous scene, now it's all ruined. What you can do in the old way is just continually swap which global volume material you're using, depending on which camera you're rendering from. That's all a thing of the past now, because each camera can have its own global volume override defined so that each one uses a different global volume material. We've improved IR when you're scrubbing through the timeline. Here we see a scene rendered in 12 Update 2 and 12 Update 1. And you can see they both took roughly the same amount of time for the initial parsing. IR is running. And I've scrubbed the timeline on both. You can see 12 Update 2 is already starting to work rendering. Now, this can make a huge difference. It's because Corona only reparses what has changed in the scene. And this is an extreme example. It's a pretty heavy scene, lots of scatters, so lots of stuff to parse. But the only thing that changes, the only thing that's animated, is the sun position. This means not much has to be reparsed at all. As you can see, it took 0 seconds, whereas the old one is reparsing all the scatters and everything else in the scene. And I could fast forward here, but I really want to draw attention to just how big a difference this can make. So I am going to let it run until it catches up. And, well, how's the weather where you are? It's quite nice here with it being spring, though the pollen is setting off my allergies, and, okay, we're still waiting. As you can see, 12 Update 2 is well underway. The image is actually even cleaving up by this point, whereas in the old system, 12 Update 1, it's still parsing. Now I will note that this is only, oh there we go, it's finally caught up, and it took a whole 1.5 minutes. As I say, I wanted you to feel how long that is when you're sat waiting. This is only when IR is running. At the moment, this does not make any difference to rendering a final animation. And this is a requirement for having the live link in Corona 13 later on this year. No change to who gets access to scans and what you can do with them, but what is different is they're now far easier to find and use. You'll be able to find them in Cosmos and drag them and drop them into your scene. The Cinema 4D node material editor now has a minimap. This makes navigating around your materials much easier. Also in C4D, there's been big improvements to the converter. You can see some of those here. And a nice new feature is automatic hotspot generation. Here is a sped up time-lapse of me setting up a virtual tour, including 4 images. And that means each image has 3 hotspots in it to link to the other images, which is a total of 12. That would be pretty tedious to set up manually. But now I can do hotspots, use the auto-generate button, and click save, and you can see it created all 12 hotspots instantly, and here they are in my virtual tour. That takes pressure off from me having to create each one manually, one by one. The zooming effect here is just me zooming in so you can see the name of the hotspot. It's not part of the virtual tours. So yep, this will make creating your virtual tours a breeze. Vantage now has a start-stop button in the Corona toolbar. Makes it very easy to start live link and stop live link. And if you want to know how far things have reached when you're exporting, it now has a progress bar.
And that's it for Corona 12 Update 2. You'll be glad to know we're going back to our normal naming from now on. The sort of technical changes that have resulted in the rather oddly named Update 1 and Update 2 are done, and we're going back to our usual release schedule. So there's Corona 13 in June, there'll be Corona 14 towards the end of the year, and then Corona 15, in the first half of next year. So, yeah, I think that'll be a relief for everybody. Anyway, I hope you find something to enjoy in Corona 12 Update 2, and we'll see you next time.